Awesome, guys! I am so excited that you guys have gone through the last module. That one was a game changer for me, and it just changed so much for so many people I know. And this one, we're gonna get into some really amazing tactics and strategies that you can use to like take this to the next level and really have massive impact and success from it, which is just ridiculously cool. Like, oh my god, this one's amazing. I'm so excited. So let's go over to the computer and let's make it happen. All right, sound cool? Sweet. So whom you come in contact, right? Everybody wants to be approved by their peer group. It's just natural human tendency. And so many people will literally spend their entire life going day by day, just struggling to get the approval of those around them. And I used to be like this for literally probably like 5, 6, 7 years. And every single day, my goal that day was not, defined by something like real. It wasn't defined by, daily journal. It wasn't defined by an actual goal, right? Like for me, like I have actual goals I want to accomplish today that like I write every single night the day before in a daily journal. Like so many people, they don't have that. And instead of having like that overarching long-term goal, that stuff that we talk about in the Think We're Rich course, they spend, their days just trying to be accepted in society and be accepted by their peer groups and just make friends, which I think is just absolutely insane. And what's really crazy is the moment that I stopped caring about being accepted by others, and the moment that I stopped trying to force myself onto other people and force them to accept me, I started making 10 times, 20 times, 30 times more friends than I ever made trying to please other people. And it was ridiculous, but in the span of like a month, I had this declaration in my mind, and I said, you know what, I don't care what other people think about me. And the moment that you can say you don't care what other people think about you, you'll attract so many more friends, because you're acting genuine, you're being yourself, and you're holding true to your standards, to your personality, and to who you are. And it just totally changed how everyone else perceives you. And at the same time, right, instead of you trying to approach everybody and trying to force everybody onto you and trying to say why you're the best, blah blah, if you just chill back, stand back and let other people slowly come to you, I'll tell you this really interesting story, and I think it kind of illustrates this principle really well. Like if I walk up to somebody on the street that I have like never met before in my life, and I'm like, hey, buy this book that I wrote, by 9 to noon. And like they're gonna be like, dude, screw off, right? Like they don't care. Because most people, what they're trying to do is they're trying to like force themselves on other people. But what instead you have to do is you have to be more interested in other people. And so as other people slowly come up to you, ask them about what they like, right? Ask them about what they're passionate about. Ask them about what they care about. And I remember like what's really interesting is like I go on airplanes a lot, right? Especially when I was traveling between parents and before I was in college. And what was really interesting is I would always try to like use these principles and apply them to the person that would sit next to me, right? And try to connect with whoever was sitting next to me on the airplane. And like 8 out of 10 times I was at the airport, I would sell somebody a copy of my book, like, which was just like, it was really, like I just got really good at this. It connected this one key concept, which is like being interested in other people. And so like I would spend like the first 90% of this conversation just talking about that person, right? And what they cared about, what they were passionate about, what they liked. And then in that last 10%, I had given them so much value up until this point. And they were like, what do you like to do, dude? What's going? Because all I would do from this point back is talk about this person. And I wouldn't like force myself on this person. I would just say, hey. They'd say, hey. And we would just slowly come together and create these conversations where like we talk about what they're passionate about, and by doing that, what happened is so ridiculous is they got a ton of value from it, and they love talking to themselves. And then they get to this last point right here, and they're like, hey, what do you like to do? And I'm like, I would give them my like 5-minute story of going from broke, minimum wage, Subway, working alone, doubles, shifts, completely alone, and really having no control over my financial future, to like the insane just amount of power and freedom and independence that I found in financial markets. And I tell them that story real quick, and then by the time you get to this end point, like you've already delivered so much value by just talking to the other person that like, dude, like everyone would buy my book, right? Why? Because I was interested in them and they reciprocated, which is just huge, right? And so if you want the approval of other people, you need to back off and you need to care, but not that much. There were a couple people I would get on these planes and or the airport, or just meeting new people in general, right? And you spend like your first 5 minutes with them, and they're like, screw off, right? And if that happens, like, you can't do anything about that, dude. Like, just whatever, man. I got books to read. I can have fun doing other stuff. You know, it's not a huge deal. And so, like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? But if you can connect with somebody, if you can give them a feeling of importance, and if you can really listen to them with genuine and sincere appreciation, then you're gonna win so many friends, because you're giving out tons and tons of praise, and never are you criticizing, which is just like the strat, right? Like, that's the goal. And if you can do that, like, you can get people to do literally anything you want by just focusing on them, which is huge. Huge. And it's just all kind of the golden rule. And then Carnegie says, how, when, where? And the answer is, you know, all the time, everywhere. It's not just like when you're traveling, or when you're going places, or when you're meeting new people. Like, you should always act in a way where you're giving others sincere value, sincere appreciation, significance, and genuine interest in a relaxed way. And it's just so powerful. He talks about David Smith from Wisconsin, and says that, you know, they're at one of his classes about handling delicate situations, and he was asked to take charge of the refreshment booth at a charity concert. And what was really interesting is at the end of the concert, he arrived and he found these two old women, and they were kind of, you know, going back and forth and arguing with each other. They just weren't having the best time ever, and they both thought that they were in charge of this big refreshment stand. They were in charge of the project. And this guy, he stood there and he saw these two people arguing, and he was like, what in the world? And so as he stands there pondering what to do, one of the members of the sponsoring committee, who just doesn't want to deal with this, comes up and says, hey dude, here's the cash register box. And so she hands him the cash box and says, thank you for taking over the project. While these two are arguing, like, these guys are like, what in the world? He just took over the project? Because these two thought that they were taking over the project. And so to him, like, he's like, oh crap, man, I gotta deal with this. And he's got this symbol of power, right? He's got this cash box that establishes him as this authority. It establishes him as the leader of this project, right? And so there was a great silence, and as he realizes that the cash box is a symbol of authority, he gives it to one of these women, and he says, here's the cash box, all right, you can lead the cart. And she says that he might not be able to keep the money straight, and that she should show the teenagers who've been assigned to the refreshments how to operate the soda machine. So for one lady, you know, she gets to do what she wants, right? She gets to operate the stand, she gets to have the cash box. And then the moment that he gives that significance to her, he goes over to the next woman and says, hey, why don't you go help out these kids that need help learning how to operate the cash box, right? And so he gives both of them a feeling of significance. He gives both of them a task, a project, a title, and something to really do. He gives them a responsibility. And because they both have a responsibility, because they both have a feeling of significance, the evening was very enjoyable. So this lady has a great time counting out this cash. This lady has a great time helping out all the kids, right? And supervising the teenagers and enjoying the concert. Because, like, you don't have to wait until you're an ambassador to France or chairman of the clam bar committee of your lodge before you use the philosophy of appreciation. You can work magic with it almost every single day. That's exactly what this guy does here. He focuses on appreciating these two women, right? He focuses on, like, how they are powerful, how they benefit the entire area around them, right? And the moment he does that, what is so cool and so powerful is that they both become happy. So at the beginning they were upset. At the beginning they weren't really super pumped about what they were doing. But instead of, like, by focusing on each of them as like an individual person and giving them something that they can do, that they can implement, all of a sudden it totally changes. And what's so powerful is now they both have something that they can enjoy and that they can do that will give them significance, that will give them a feeling of importance and will make them feel appreciated. Because if you look at this original power struggle, this isn't really a power struggle, it's a struggle for a feeling of appreciation, because they both want to feel like they're the important leader of this event. And the moment that this guy finds a way to give it to them, it changes absolutely everything for them.